Shalom, shalom, all esteem to the highest Yahuah, Yahusha. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into this, man. Without no talk, let's just jump in. So let me show you this first thing. This is actually from Wisdom of Solomon. This is one that I found on my own. All praises to the Most High. Let me share this with y'all, bro. This one is very telling, and we're gonna connect it to the renewed covenant and all of that. So let's look at verse 15. And look what it says. Thine almighty word leaped down from heaven out of your royal throne as a fierce man of war in the midst of a land of destruction. Wait a minute here. It says that the word leaped down from the Shamayim out of the throne as a fierce man of war. Bruh. Connect that easily to John chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the word. And the word was with Yahuah, and Yahuah was the word. The same was in the beginning with Yahuah. All things were made by him. Without him was not anything that was not made. In him was Qaim, life, and HaQaim, life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Okay, now let's jump down to 14. And what does it say? And the word was made flesh and tabernacled amongst us, and we beheld his esteem, the esteem as the beloved or the begotten of the Father. Actually, yeah, that should be begotten, Yaqid, of the Father, full of grace and truth. So you have Wisdom of Solomon that connects directly to John chapter 1, verses 1 through 4, and also John 1:14. Now, I'm going to take this a step further, and we're also going to look at the scriptures where Yahuah, the scriptures literally say Yahusha came down from heaven. Like I said, we have to tie all these things together. It has to all make sense. So we're going to jump over here into some more of these scriptures and look at this. So real quick, let's look at the scriptures. Now, we just read in the Wisdom of Solomon that the Almighty Word leaped from the throne from heaven. Now, we're going to connect that to some of these prophecies and what's written about Yahusha so we can understand the truth. We're going to start off in verse 33, and we're going to just keep reading because there's more. So, for the bread of Yahuah is he which comes down from heaven and gives Qaim or life unto the world. So Yahusha came down from heaven. The Almighty Word came down from heaven. The Word was Yahuah. The Word was with Yahuah. And the Word became flesh. Okay, line up on line, precept upon precept. Let's keep going. So that's 633. Let's look at 638. For I came down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him that sent me. Now, let me say this. A lot of people say, oh, well, Yahusha says the Father is greater than I. The Father is greater than I. I always explain this over and over again. When he says that, he is talking about the fact that the Ruach is greater than the flesh. Everybody doesn't understand. The Bible literally says the Ruach wars against the flesh. So if Yahuah reduced himself, then yes, of course, his eternal, self is greater than his flesh form. But let's keep going. He put on flesh, meaning that he wasn't always flesh, but he became flesh. All right, that's why he came down from heaven. But let's keep going. All right, now let's go to 641. The Yahudim that murmured at him because he said, Ahaya ha lakam, I am the bread, which what? Came down from heaven. And just like people get mad because I say Yahuah came down from heaven. Same thing, bro, as Yahusha, as flesh. Let's keep going. Moving on. This is the bread which comes down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. 51. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. Now, let's keep going. I got some other witnesses I want to tie with this. about this whole Yahusha came down from heaven. We're going to get a little Yahuah came down from heaven as Yahusha. All right, we're going to jump over here to Yahuchanan, and we're going to read 8:23, John 8:23. And he said unto them, you are from beneath, I am from above. You are of this world, I am not of this world. Wait a minute, huh? John chapter 3. And we're going to look at 13 and 31. So let's jump over there real quick. Let's look at this. We'll start off at 12 for context. If I told you earthly things and you believe not, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? And no man has ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man, which is in heaven. And now we're going to jump down to 31. All right. 31 reads thus: he that cometh from above is above all. He that is of the earth is earthly, and speaketh of the earth. And he that cometh from above, cometh from heaven, is above all. Okay, so we can see here, it's still referencing what we just read in the Wisdom of Solomon. It all ties together, family. It all ties together. Now, I'm going to give you one more in regards to this, and we'll keep it moving. And that's going to be 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 47. What does it say? And this one will prove it to you. The first man is of the earth, Adam, earthy. The second man is Yahuah from heaven. The first Adam, the last Adam. Yahuah is Yahusha. Okay? Now, we got more to get into. All right? And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you all some more stuff. We're going to connect some more dots for you real quick. So let's jump into the next thing. All right, so we're going to continue on with this thing here. Now, so we looked at the word became flesh. We looked at the Almighty Word came down from the throne of the Almighty. All right. We looked at Yahusha referring to himself as the bread of life that came down from heaven, the word made flesh, so on and so forth. So let's look at the next thing here. So who is the good shepherd? I mean, that should kind of go without saying, right? You might say it's Yahusha, but I agree with you 100%. But the thing is, you see, Yahuah is Yahusha. So let's look at this, fam. I'm going to make this bigger, actually. Hold on. Okay, there we go. A Psalm of David. Yahuah tends me as a shepherd, and I shall want nothing. Okay, so this is Daud that is referring to the Most High as a shepherd. Okay, all right. Now let's look at Yakazakal, Ezekiel 34, 11 through 12. And it reads thus: for thus saith Yahuah Alua, behold, I will seek out my sheep and will visit them. I will seek out my sheep. So if a person owns sheep, has sheep, they will be considered a shepherd, right? The lost sheep of Yashar. Why were we lost? Because we fell away from the ways of Yahuah. Let's keep reading. So he will visit his sheep, 34:12, as the shepherd seeks his flock. Okay, so likening himself to a shepherd. In the day when there is darkness and cloud in the midst of the sheep that are separated, so will I seek out my sheep and will bring them back from every place where they were scattered in the day of cloud and darkness. So Yahuah promised he will regather his sheep. Now, that's all fine and dandy. But then when you read about Yahusha, you see him liken himself to the shepherd the same way Yahuah did. So Yahuah, are you telling me that Yahuah was our shepherd and then he now makes Yahusha the shepherd? So we don't need Yahuah no more, essentially. He gives all his power, all his authority, all his judgment power to Yahusha. Therefore, there's no need for the eternal Alua anymore. Listen, if you, the only way to really accept Yahusha is understand he is Yahuah. Because every time I think about Yahusha being separate from Yahuah, I'm like, bro, this goes against everything Torah. Everything. But let's read it. We're going to jump over here to Mathath Yahu, Matthew, and we are going to read 25 31 through 32. When the Son of Man shall come in his esteem, and all the Kadash angels with him, then he shall sit upon the throne of his esteem. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divides his sheep from the goats. So Yahuah said we are his sheep. Yahusha dividing his sheep from the goats. We see clearly we are also Yahusha's sheep. So then that means we're Yahuah's sheep. That means Yahuah's Yahusha. But let's keep going. And he shall set the sheep at his right hand and the goats on his left. Okay. Now I find that to be interesting because Yahusha is the right hand of the Father, or, basically it says that, he is standing at the right hand of the Father, right? But I mean, right hand means authority and power, which is given to him by Yahuah, but that could only be possible if Yahuah is Yahusha, because Yahuah gives his esteem and shares his esteem with nobody else. So if Yahusha is sitting up on the throne of esteem, then that means he is Yahuah. But let's keep going. So we looked at that. Now I'm also going to connect that to Yehukanan, or John chapter 10. Okay. And we are going to read 11 through 14. And it reads thus: I am the good shepherd, says Yahusha. The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. Okay. But he that is a hireling and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, see the wolves coming, and leaves the sheep and flees. And the wolf catches them up and scatters the sheep. The hireling flees because he is a hireling and cares not for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. There's that I am again, Yahuah. I am the good shepherd and know my sheep and am know of mine. As the Father knows me, even so I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. Okay. So we can see here, we have Yahuah referring to himself as the shepherd of Yashar, and then we have Yahusha referring to himself as the shepherd of the sheep of Yashar. I mean, Yahuah and Yahusha are one and the same, essentially, what we're looking at here. Because then, like I said, if you're going to say that it's separate, then you have to explain, if Yahuah said he doesn't change, why would it change under Yahusha? Now, next place we're going to go is I'm going to show you some scriptural parallels. We're going to look at Second Esdras chapter 1 verse 30. So this is Second Esdras chapter 1 verse 30. Yahuah says, I gathered you together as a hen gathers her chickens under her wings. But now what shall I do unto you? I will cast you out from my face. Now, I think that's very clear. This is talking about Yahuah. But here's the thing. Yahusha literally says the same thing. Let's look at it. So we're going to jump over here to Matthew 24:37. O Jerusalem, you have killed the prophets and stoned them which are sent unto you. How often would I have gathered your children together, even as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and you would not? Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. Now, if you don't believe Yahuah is Yahusha, help me understand what this is actually saying here. Okay? It literally verbatim, okay, is saying what Yahuah said in Second Esdras chapter 1. I've gathered your children together, even as a hen gathers her chickens under her wings, and you would not. All right? And let's just jump back over here. I gathered you together as a hen gathered her chickens under her wings, but now what shall I do to you? I will cast you from my face. Same reference, bro. It is literally the same reference. Okay? It's not that hard to see, bro. Yahuah is Yahusha. But we're going to keep going because there's more. Who is bringing our reward at their return? Naturally, you're going to say Yahusha, right? Well, let's look at this scripture here. We're going to always start off in the first covenant, and then we'll connect it to the renewed covenant, because the first covenant is what we had first. So let's look at this. This is Yashayahu, Isaiah, and we are going to read 40:10 through 13. Behold, Yahuah is coming with Kazakh strength, and his arm is with power. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work is before him. He shall tend his flock as a shepherd. Remember, We just read, we just proved Yahusha is the shepherd, Yahuah is a shepherd, Yahuah is Yahusha. And he shall gather the lambs with his arm, and he shall soothe them that are young. Yes. Who has measured the water in his hand, and the heaven with the span, and all the earth in a handful. Who has weighed the mountain in scales and force in balance. Who has the mind of Yahuah, and who has been counselor to instruct him. Okay. So we see it says that Yahuah says, behold, my reward is with me. His reward is with him, and his work before him. Now, let's look at Revelations 22:12. What does Yahusha say? Hana, behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give every man according as his work shall be. So again, behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me. As it says in Isaiah 40, Yashayahu 40. Okay? Yahuah is Yahusha. I don't know how people can't see this, bro. And that's why we're doing a series to help you see it. Because like I said, if you are looking at these things I'm showing you and you are still doubting it, bro, something is wrong with you. It has to be, because you can't see these parallels. After 8 episodes, you still can't see Yahuah's Yahusha. I really honestly think you need to go to the Father. After I close out this episode, go to him and ask him to show you. Because me showing you these scriptures, it should be clear to you by now. In all these episodes I've done and the many more that will be done. But I want you to really seek the Most High and ask him to show you this. That is the best thing you can do if you can't see it still. But we're going to keep going. Who is the king of Yasharal? You're going to say Yahusha, right? Yahuah is the king of Yasharal because he came in the flesh as Yahusha. Still Yahuah. So let's look at this next one. Yashayahu, Isaiah 44, verse 6. Thus saith Alua, the king of Yasharal, Yahuah Sabaoth that delivered him. I am the first, and I am hereafter. Besides me, there is no Alua. Okay? And this is one of those things where he says there's nobody else, right? But it says that Yahuah is the king of Yasharal. Okay? Now let's look at another witness. Jumping over here to Zephaniah or Zephaniah 3:15. Yahuah has taken away your iniquities. He has ransomed you from the hand of your enemies. Yahuah, the king of Yasharal, is in the midst of you. You shall not see evil anymore. Well, this is a future prophecy here. But it also says Yahuah is the king of Yasharal. Now let's look at the renewed covenant here. All right. We're going to jump over here to Matthew 27, verse 42. And it reads thus: He saved others, himself he cannot save. If he be the king of Israel, let him come now down from the tree, and we will believe him. Wait a minute. So even the Pharisees were referring to him as the king of Israel or king of Yasharal, Malak Yasharal, right? Malak by Yasharal. Now, let's go over here to Mark 15:32. And let's read this. Let Mashiach, the king of Yasharal, descend now from the tree, that we may see and believe, and that they were crucified with him, reviled him. So we have another witness of them claiming, saying that he is the king of Yasharal. They were mocking him because he had said, and he was known as the king of Yasharal. And in some translations said king of the Yahudim, but nonetheless the redeemer of Yasharal. Now, let me give you one more. This is Yehukanan, and we're going to read 48 through 49. Nathanael said unto him, when you know me? Yahusha answered and said unto him, before that Philip called you, when you were under the fig tree, I saw you. Nathanael answered and said unto him, Rabbi, thou art the son of Alua, thou art the king of Yasharal. And Yahusha answered and said, because I said unto you, I saw you under the fig tree, believed you, you shall see greater things than these. Okay, so he is the king of Yasharal. So if Yahuah is referred to as the king of Yasharal and Yahuah is Malak Alam, king forever, then that means Yahuah is Yahusha. So that's it. This was, how long was this? This was 24 minutes. Okay, not bad. Obviously, I'm going to cut this down in post-production, but Yahuah is Yahusha. We will be back with more episodes. Like I said, I'm going to keep on building out the series until I can anymore. And Yahuah willing, there's going to be way more than this. Trust me. So until the next one, all esteem to the highest Yahuah.